The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and guest and are not necessarily those of WPSL or WSTU. This station does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without the express permission and written consent of this station. Phone lines are open for your questions and comments. Call 220-9788 or 340-1590. And now, here's your host.
Your host is Gary Mariarossi from Treasure Coast Car Guys. You are in the studios with the Treasure Coast Car Guys with Treasure Coast Toyota of Stuart and Treasure Coast Lexus. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Veronica.
How are you this week?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's a little warmer out, so.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, it's nice.
Hard to believe that, most of the country, it's still winter.
We don't want to think about them.
That is.
We feel sorry for them, but we get over it quickly, don't we?
I was walking to, from in the parking lot into the studio, and, that's what I thought. I was like, my goodness, it's February, and a lot of places are hunkered down, and no one wants to go outside, and it is beautiful.
More than one person said to me, is it ever going to warm up? We've had so many straight days of cold. And I kept going, well, it's January. It's winter, but here it is. Beautiful today.
Cold, what was that, 50 degrees? Was that
50? Yeah, it was, yeah. Like, what were we dipping into the 40s overnight when it was at its coldest?
Funny.
We're so spoiled.
Yes, and Lexus, we have our winter sales event, which is what made me think of it because, here in Florida, I almost hate calling it a winter sales event because it doesn't feel like winter, does it?
Yeah.
But it is. So the calendar says it.
This is winter for us.
It is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So we're really excited about that. But yesterday, I want to share with you I got to go to to Jupiter and to the racetrack in Palm Beach International Racetrack.
Okay. Used to be a long time ago. See, I'm an old school person.
Yeah.
Moroso.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I'd never been before, so it was pretty neat. And we got
straight track dragsters. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we saw the dragster track, of course, and then the racetrack itself, which is pretty.
Well, you
neat.
can see how long ago it's been since I was there. I know it is Moroso, and it was only a straight track.
Oh no, they've got a whole official track now.
Yeah, it's been a while,
which is pretty neat. And but we got to drive on the track, and we got to drive the LC 500, our luxury sports coupe.
We're seeing that a lot in the movie. The
yes, Black Panther.
Is it a movie commercial or a Lexus commercial, or maybe it's both?
It's a little of both, which is what we're hoping. But yes, we see that car a lot, and it's that vehicle, the LC 500, was a true limited production vehicle. They only made 4,000 of them on the initial run, so each dealer got a handful, and we of course didn't let any salespeople or sales managers drive them.
Okay.
Because people typically who buy in that segment, they don't want
no miles.
No. So
we'll allow you two. That's putting it on the truck and taking it off, right?
That's about it. And the pre-delivery inspection. So we didn't get to experience that. So at the track yesterday, they had 3 of them, and we took turns driving them. And my goodness, we had a professional driver take us around for a hot lap.
Okay.
And they can drive. You would have liked that. And,
yeah. Oh yes.
So
very much.
Very much.
Yeah.
And then they let us drive, but there was a kind of a pace car in front of us, so we had to drive in a straight line. But I mean, we got up to 130 miles an hour on the straightaway, so they let us go pretty well.
Awesome.
But the cornering and the handling and the acceleration, and it's still a Lexus.
So did you power slide through the corners?
They wouldn't let us do that.
Ah, darn.
Now with the professional driver, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. They were pretty amazing.
New set of tires after that.
Oh, I would imagine so. There aren't a lot of test drives like that.
Yeah.
Where tires and brakes.
Sure.
But what an experience, and to be able to actually drive the car now and share that experience, with people that that are considering that vehicle. I think we're all much better equipped.
Is that the kind of car that's sold before they even come in?
Most of them are, and
owners are waiting.
They are.
Yeah.
It's just what a machine. Absolutely amazing. So, but in addition to that, we also got to drive the brand new LS 500, which we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, it's finally almost here. In fact, they'll
Did you get to power slide in that?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. But again, they let us take it around the track with a pace car. And we got that thing up to about 125. And that's the V6 twin turbo, which a lot of people had questions about.
Wow.
Is that going to be
V6?
enough power
Yeah.
for that car? And I can tell you, it is plenty. We had
How much power do you need, right?
we had the acceleration was fabulous. 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. I mean, it was just very impressive. And it's built on the same platform as the LC 500, which I didn't learn that until yesterday. So a lot of similarities in technology and performance from the LC to the LS. And because the LS is the four-door luxury sedan, our flagship vehicle, but they took a lot of the performance from the LC and shared that with the LS model. So
So you got a roomy four-door that handles like a sports car.
that performs incredibly. And there must have been about 100 Lexus employees out there yesterday
Okay.
for, they call it a ride and drive. And
Well, who would skip that moment, right?
oh gosh, we didn't have.
You guys locked the doors. Everybody went.
We go in groups. So
Okay.
they're doing it yesterday, today, and
Okay,
tomorrow.
so nobody had to hold down the fort while everybody else got to play.
No, we broke it up in groups.
That
and
was nice.
we just have to make sure no one tries to double dip. Go back
Okay,
again
yeah.
today. They might. But the ALS, the consensus was, and the thing you kept hearing from everybody is, it drives like a small car, but rides like an LS. It rides, the luxury sedan that's the top of the heap right there. So, and we had the competitors' cars there. We got to drove those as well, for comparison's sake. And wow, that Lexus has hit a home run with that car.
Yeah, I prefer that tight driving kind of feel
my
versus that
goodness.
floaty feel of a big. Usually, big luxury cars have that kind of
Yes.
floaty feel. I like that tight sports car feel.
No, they explained to us, without getting terribly, technological here, but what they did to the vehicle, and you can see it when you look at it from the side, is they actually, the front wheels are back a little bit than you would normally see in previous versions of the LS. I'm sorry, forward a little bit. The engine is actually moved back. And so they call it aft of center. The front axle.
Okay, so it's like a center of gravity kind of thing.
It truly is.
Okay.
That's why they did it. And so, because they said if you look at, performance race cars, for example, Indy cars and things like that, well, the engine basically sits in the middle of the car. It's dead center. And that is for weight distribution. That is for center of gravity, for handling, performance. So, I mean, the engine, of course, doesn't sit in the middle of the car, but by bringing the engine back a bit, tires forward a bit, it has truly balanced out the front and rear weight of the car. So the center of gravity and the handling and the cornering were amazing for a luxury car. Like you said, a lot of luxury cars kind of are boats. They have that boat tube.
Floaty feel. Yeah.
And we saw that with, some of the other cars in that segment. There's a lot of roll, when you hit a turn, that car will we call it rolling, of course. And with the LS, no, because of the low center of gravity, amazing. And then the creature comforts, amazing. And I mean, ours had massaging seats, so
Why not?
you're driving, you're driving, getting a nice massage. Of course, they're heated. The displays are incredible. The heads-up display, largest display in the industry, color, just surrounded by incredible technology and beauty. I mean, the trim packages are spectacular. Everything handmade, just attention to detail like nothing else.
Sure.
So, yeah, and the one thing that really struck me with the LS was the back seat. And especially when we had them side by side with all the competitors in that segment where, it seemed like the competition pays a lot of attention to the driver's seat, passenger seat, but very little attention's given to the back seat. They're just kind of, like they would be in any car.
Yeah, they're there so you can throw your purse back there or the groceries.
Much. It seems that way.
Grandkids come visit, they get to sit back there.
But the LS is a luxury sedan. We anticipate that, there are going to be times where there'll be more than 2 people in that car. And the back seat.
Or you could get a chauffeur and sit in the back all the time.
Yes, we could do that.
Get a driver.
And you'd be happy to, because the back seat, as much attention was paid to the back seat as was to the front seat. Now the front seats, that car's available with 28 point power seat. I mean, it's just.
I'd never be able to decide.
Oh,
is this better? It's kind of like going to the eye doctor. Better now
but
or better now?
You can dial that in to be absolutely perfect for you, and then of course you preset your button, and so it's always there. It is.
Well, these are things that you do. I didn't really realize how sitting in a car is different for every person. I'm very tall. I have relatives that are very short, and I mean I've got a niece who can't reach the pedals. She's got to pick out a car based on whether or not she can see over their steering wheel and actually reach the pedals. So being able to move that seat in so many ways, it accommodates everyone.
It truly does, and look, Lexus, there are certain things we're known for, and one of them is absolutely comfort. And you can't get more comfortable driving a vehicle. I mean, it is just, but then again, to combine that with that type of performance, and I can't say enough about what they did with that 6-cylinder twin turbo. It is just an engineering feat. And
you don't happen to know the horsepower, do you?
You're going to ask me that, right?
Okay, that's a project. Tell me next week.
It's 400 foot-pounds of torque, which gives it tremendous acceleration off the line. And I will get the horsepower for you.
I'll call you later.
It is the equivalent of most V8s in that class. I know that.
I was talking last week with Greg Wyatt, our owner,
Yes.
and we were talking about horsepower and 700 horsepower and some of these supercars, and he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Greg, it's not. It's just knowing you have it. It's not really needing it. It's knowing you got it."
Well, the things that they emphasized with us yesterday, because they had Lexus engineers there to really tell us and explain to us why they want that route and the advantages and with the 6-cylinder twin turbo, the twin turbos kick in instantaneously when you need them, but
like in passing or
just any type of acceleration, and it is seamless. It's not in the old days where you would literally hear the turbo kick in. It is as seamless. You can't even tell.
It's amazing the horsepower they're getting out of smaller engines today, though.
And that's what the engineers.
That's why I asked.
And that's why that's what the engineers were talking about. They said it's not a horsepower thing anymore. It's weight of the car, materials used, aerodynamics. Distribution, the evening out the front to rear weight distribution.
0 to 60 in 3 seconds. No, I'm kidding. I kid.
We weren't on the drag strip, no. All of that, because we used to just look at horsepower, and it's much more than that now. So they've been able, through advances in engineering, they've been able to duplicate the larger engine horsepower with much smaller power plants and still have that great performance, but give you better fuel economy, which of course is critical for everyone. So in the standard model, you're talking over 23 miles per gallon, combining city and highway driving, which the V8, isn't going to give you that. You're going to be in the teens. And yet the performance of the V8 when you want it. The hybrid version, which was really neat, because the hybrid version, the torque is much higher. And so off the line, from a standstill, when you hit the gas on that car, you go. And it's a dramatic difference. It was pretty neat. and that vehicle gets 28 plus miles to the gallon, which in a luxury sedan, it's just unheard of.
And when you say hybrid, you mean it's like battery and gasoline?
Yes, it is a combination.
That's like that whole it's charging itself thing?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it's electric motor basically.
Right. You don't have to plug it
line.
in or anything like that. It doesn't run out of juice and leave you stranded.
Right. Right.
You're using gas combined with electric technology. The originator of that, of course, was the Prius way back when. It's still that same technology, just with pretty impressive advances to it to now put it in the LS. So it was quite an experience, and we will have those vehicles out. We will actually have one of them at our dealership this weekend. So the 9th, 10th, and the 11th, we'll have an LS there to demo. We can't drive it. It's not our car. But it will be at the dealership. People can actually see it live, see the features, sit in it. And we're really excited about that because the following week is when we actually get delivery of our first LSs for sale.
Now, if you love it, can you order one?
Yes, and we've had people pre-order them already.
Okay.
Yeah, so
without being able to come and see it and sit in it.
No, they've seen enough online, and
okay, they know they want it.
They do, and it's interesting because we've had quite a few LS customers who have waited. We haven't seen many LS trade-ins for the past 6 to 8 months, and that is because they've been waiting.
Okay.
They wanted the new one.
So in the next few months, you're going to be getting some of those in on trade. So then your used car lot will have some great cars too.
Some wonderful, low mileage LS. When you bring out a new model, it's always wildly anticipated with Lexus, especially something like this. But there's always a small percentage of people that say, I like the old one better, and so.
Sometimes, though, it's just even though you like it and love it and take really good care of it, it's time for a new one.
Oh yes, thankfully for for our customer base.
Yeah, that works out well, right?
But we'll have some great trades that that we'll certify, and so folks say, gosh, I still like I like the old model better. We will have those too. So it's really a great time in the LS world. We're going to also do a launch party. Where we haven't set the exact date yet. We're finalizing all of that. Where we're going to invite people to the dealership, have a nice champagne, hors d'oeuvres, and unveil the new LS, and give it a proper send off, so to speak. And we're really excited about that too, and have people come in, in an more intimate setting, and we'll have them in the showroom and. Hopefully have 4 or 5 of them in different colors, and we can really kick it off and unveil that vehicle. We're excited about that.
That's a great excuse to have a party.
And we don't really need much of an excuse, Veronica, but that is a good one, isn't it?
It is.
So we're excited about that. We're going to invite, of course, all of our LS customers. Any of our guests, are certainly welcome. We're also going to invite some of the competition. People who own some of the competitors' models in that segment, and we want them to see that our latest and greatest as well. We believe they will be blown away when they see the difference.
Great.
So wonderful experience, and we can't wait. It's going to be very, very exciting. And again, we'll have one at the dealership this weekend. Anybody wants to stop by and take a look, and then we will have them. Our first allotment will come the following weekend, so it's here.
Exciting.
Very. It seemed a long time coming, but it's here. So.
Just like anything. I mean, it really seems far off, like Christmas. I mean, we just did that, but you know what? That'll be coming very quickly around the corner again.
I can't believe it's February.
February. It's like the month for love.
Is that what it is?
And if you'd love a new Lexus, stop on by.
Well, it's funny that
fall in love all over again.
I agree, and it's funny because we'll have them here the weekend of Valentine's Day. Right before Valentine's Day.
Now I wonder if that was planned. I'm sure that's not an accident.
You don't think that was coincidental?
So. No, I don't think so.
I think it's a great Valentine's Day gift.
It is.
What do you think?
I think so.
We should certainly. Maybe we get some pink bows instead of red ones for for our December to remember. We'll do some.
Actually, red works too.
Red works. Sure,
works
red roses,
too.
right?
Yep.
I think we may have to break those out for this unveiling.
Yeah, because it goes with the Valentine.
I think it's very appropriate. So, we also are going to unveil officially at that point too the third row RX, which we've had for a couple weeks now. And it's very interesting. The third row RX, we kind of anticipated. It's 4 inches longer than our standard RX. Has a third row with the third row down, massive cargo area, and so we were very excited about that, and it's been doing wonderfully. Selling very nicely, but we anticipated that a lot of RX owners would step up from the standard RX to the to the longer third row RX. And it's funny that just as many sales have come from people going the other direction. We've had people actually trading in LXs and GXs and going to the third row RX.
Okay.
Which surprised us a little bit. We weren't anticipating as many that way, but now that it's happening and talking to guests about why, it makes perfect sense. We should have anticipated it.
Yeah, they really wanted that third row.
They really did.
No matter what they were driving.
And they're a lot of them just say, we're at a point in our life we don't need that much space, but gosh, we really do need that third row, grandkids, kids, and so it's
all you have to really do to know that you need a bigger car is pick up your family at the airport.
Oh my goodness!
You'll need a little more seating and places for their bags.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, sit there and put your bag on your lap, right?
Yeah, or rent a car to go get them. I mean. This fixes all those problems.
Every one of them.
Good grocery carrier, though.
Oh, my goodness. And just, but it's still an RX, which is, RX has been our top seller forever. And it is, it is kind of the bellwether for our brand. And RX, you see them all over the place, they're everywhere. And to finally have a third row version of that vehicle, gosh, we've been asking for that for years.
Many SUVs started off with just 2 rows of seating and then pushed into the the third row, and it just makes perfect sense.
It does for us, but the challenge, it's not that easy. A lot of people, think, well, just redesign the car, and because
but where are you going to put it?
Well, and when you make it 4 inches longer, that impacts everything else on the car.
Sure.
And RX has always been known for its phenomenal comfort and ride, and it's quiet. So when you re-engineer that and you add 4 inches to the vehicle, well, you've got to redesign the whole darn thing now. So it's not just, well, let's just little more sheet metal, a little more to, and add a third row and we're good to go, right?
Right. It could change everything.
It does change everything. So, weight distribution, ride, handling, because we wanted people to get in that RX, that third row, and say, gosh, this is just like my RX. It rides and feels and sounds just like mine. That's what we were going for. And that's where it was a big undertaking, and hats off to Lexus.
Now, you're listening to the Treasure Coast Car Guys on WPSL and WSTU. We're going to take a quick break for Florida news. We'll be back with more Treasure Coast Car Guys after this.
You're listening to the Treasure Coast Car Guys on WPSL Digital 1590 and WSTU Digital 1450. Phone lines are open for your questions and comments. And now, here's your host.
And a quick reminder that if you have questions about cars in general, we'll take those too. 340-1590. Give us a call here. And you're in the studios with the Treasure Coast Car Guys. Gary Mariarossi, your host. Welcome back.
Thanks, Veronica. So we talked a lot about LS, the brand new LS, the LC 500, and don't want to forget that February is still the winter sales event. In our very uncomfortable winter that we have here. What is it, about 70 degrees out
It's
today?
a cold out.
Beautiful.
Today, yes.
Absolutely gorgeous. But it is
we
winter.
needed a reprieve from all those cold days we had.
I know. I think we're here. I think it's here. So it is winter. And
Somewhere.
It's somewhere. Thankfully not here. But we are included in the winter sales
That's
event
right.
for
It
Lexus.
is technically winter.
Yes, it is. So that started, of course, in January and goes through February. And that is
What does it mean? What are we getting?
You're getting great deals on Lexus L certified pre-owned vehicles.
Okay.
And of course, the L certified program, second to none in the automobile industry for certified. We, what Lexus considers certified, which is why ours are called L certified, not just certified. That's a term. Certified is a term that gets thrown around quite a bit in our industry. And it doesn't mean the same thing from dealer to dealer or from manufacturer to manufacturer.
You can prove that really easily just by asking what the certified warranty looks like and what the L certified warranty might look like. So there are perks by coming and looking at L certified cars.
No question about it. And an L certified vehicle first gets a 161 point inspection, as thorough as it can be. I mean, we measure everything. And then there are standards that have to be met before the vehicle can be called L certified.
So these standards are put on the dealer by Lexus.
By Lexus Corporate, because Lexus is the company that's the manufacturer that actually stands behind the vehicle. So they're not going to stand behind the vehicle until we bring that vehicle up to their standards.
Right.
And in a nutshell, what the standards are, the standard is to bring that vehicle up to a new car vehicle mechanically. So, typical L certified vehicle with Lexus, you'll see things like new tires. You'll see things like and not any new tires. For mostly Michelin tires. The correct speed rating. There's a little more to it than
Right, they're the correct tires for that vehicle.
just throwing 4 retreads, on a vehicle and saying
That's
it has
not
new
new
tires.
tires, no.
So you'll see new tires, brakes done, new battery, the whatever services due, be it the 30K, the 20K, 20,000 mile service, that's been done.
Now, speaking of miles, they're not going to be high mile cars either.
Typically, no, not in our market. The market here, because we have a lot of residents who aren't here full time, the miles tend to be pretty darn low.
Sure.
Which is a big advantage when you're shopping for an L certified vehicle. But that's what we do to the vehicle to bring it up to those new car standards mechanically. If belts or hoses are worn, they get replaced. So that vehicle, when we stamp it certified, that's what that means. After we do that, then it qualifies, and Lexus backs that vehicle up with any purchase. You're going to get an unlimited mile factory warranty and a comprehensive factory warranty. It's not just the powertrain, because we're not worried about the engine, falling out of the car, or that's typically not what happens with a Lexus.
Right.
So, but these cars, these newer cars in particular, even if they're 2 or 3 years old, they have so much technology on them, and it's very expensive. And the
But you guys are going to go all through all of that as well.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So when we say comprehensive warranty, it covers those things as well. And that's really, the important part, because again,
Let me ask you a question. I get up to like 60,000 miles on my L certified vehicle, and my electric window doesn't go down, which happens on the other guy's cars.
Yes, it does.
I'm covered.
You are.
Wow.
And when we say that's covered, there's no deductible. There's no.
I'm going to bring it in, and you guys are going to fix it. I'm going to drink a cappuccino, and you're going to wash it and give it back to me when it's done.
And if it takes longer than an hour or two, we're going to put you in a loaner car.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
you're that whole program, the whole L certified program, is meant to mimic buying a new car from us.
Right.
So you get all of the perks, all of the benefits, just at a much lower cost.
But the way that I'm seeing it, for a longer period of time.
It is, because the L certified warranty runs. It starts and runs through. It's 6 years from the original in-service date of the vehicle. So the majority of our certified cars right now are 2015s and 2016s. We have some older, some newer, but that's the bulk of them. So if you bought an L certified that was a 2016, that car, probably came into service originally, was purchased sometime in 2016. And let's just say it was February of 2016. Then the warranty on that vehicle, the L certified warranty on that vehicle, would run 6 years from that original purchase date. So you would have a warranty on that car through February of 2022.
And no restrictions on the miles.
And unlimited miles, which is just amazing.
It just shows, though, the company standing behind its product, they're confident.
You have to be pretty darn confident to do that,
they're
don't
confident.
you? And it's a beautiful thing. Again, and protecting, the guests again, for the technology, if something technologically breaks down or malfunctions, with our vehicles, our guests are really good about doing their scheduled maintenance. So with the scheduled maintenance, if you change your oil and change the radiator fluid when you're supposed to and the transmission fluid, that car just runs and runs and runs and runs. But there's no maintenance that you can do on your navigation system.
Right.
So, it's just going to perform the way it performs. And, I mean, they're really, really well made, but they're not perfect.
Right.
And so in the event that there is an issue with that with one of our certified pre-owned vehicles, just pull it in and we'll fix it.
Yeah. And new electronics are advancing and they change so quickly.
They do.
And we know that even with our PCs and our laptops, they only last for so long. Having that warranty is true peace of mind.
It's amazing. And that's standard with the purchase of every L certified vehicle. On top of that, Lexus will allow you to extend that warranty up to 5 years. So if you got a 2016, let's say, and it had 4 years of warranty left on it, you could extend it another 5 years. You could have 9 years of unlimited mileage, comprehensive factory warranty. That's just unheard of.
It is.
So if you're somebody who drives a lot of miles, we have a lot of our
it's
guests.
like, go ahead, drive all the miles you want.
Let's say you're a realtor. Let's say you're on the road. You're a salesperson that's on the road a lot, or you have a long commute to work.
Right. A lot of people live here on the Treasure Coast and work in the Palm Beaches.
Yes,
so
they do. So could you imagine that you drive 30,000 miles a year? 9 years
and
later,
you don't have to drive a beater.
No. You have 250,000 miles on your car and it's still under factory warranty like it was a new one.
Right.
That's when we explain that to people, they say, they can't be right. Are you sure about that? We get that in writing?
Yeah. It's not something that you're used to hearing.
Yes, I'm sure. And yes, you get that in writing. So, again, peace of mind. How can you really argue against a company that is going to stand behind their product like that? And we're the only manufacturer that does that. And we do it on every model. Some manufacturers will do limited, unlimited mileage warranties. I've heard that. And then you start digging deep into it, and it's on certain models. And, there are so many restrictions and so many qualifications. We don't do any of that. Again, us, no deductibles, no exceptions. Every model, if we have inspected that car and labeled it as L certified, that's what you get.
Right.
Which is,
and you get to enjoy all that luxury and all that comfort as well, and the peace of mind that comes along with that warranty. That's it. It's amazing because there's always that question when you buy a used car, you don't really know. And I guess even with a new car, you don't really know because you can get a bad one every once in a while. But
we have warranties on our new cars too, just in case.
Knowing that the factory is standing behind the product in this way lets you know it's a good car.
It's such a pleasure, I've worked for other manufacturers earlier in my career, and to sell somebody a pre-owned car, to sell somebody a certified pre-owned vehicle, and they have a problem 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, and they come in and they're like, okay, here we go, right? And they're ready.
They're ready.
They're ready for a fight. And because their expectation is that, and sometimes they just kind of forget.
Yeah, they've practiced it in the car on the way over.
Oh, they are ready. And, this, malfunction, and what are you going to do about it? And it's such a great feeling to just say, well, we're going to fix it. And how much are you going to charge me for that? And say, well, we're not going to charge you anything. Do you need a loaner car? And the look on their face, and the relief, is the best experience. And for us to be able, as dealers and as salespeople, to be able to, to say that to one of our guests is the greatest feeling in the world, because we have exceeded their expectations. They're even though we explained all that to them in the beginning, because of past experiences and other manufacturers, they still don't fully, I won't say believe it.
Right.
There's still some skepticism, and they're still expecting a fight, and it's just a wonderful thing when they come in, and we don't have to fight with them. No, we're not going to fight with you. We're going to fix it, and we're going to fix it right. And thank goodness you bought a certified pre-owned vehicle.
There you go. Now, I've had vehicles where it's been in for service, big service, and they're like going to give me a drive home. And I'm like, okay, but how do I get to work tomorrow? So, and you have to fight for that loaner car. So it is amazing. I mean, you have the customer service end of this covered.
We do. I mean, we've got about 50 loaner cars in our loaner car fleet, and 50 is a fleet. That's a lot of cars, and so we don't have to, make people qualify for that, so to speak. If they need a loaner car, we have them. That's what we have them for. The funny thing is, Veronica, it's pretty neat because Lexus, is so smart, and I can't tell you how many times people. It's a benefit for us. We're happy to put you in a loaner car because it's typically a 2017. It's got all the upgraded technology.
You're gonna make me want it.
So
I keep this. You keep my old car. I'll take this one.
Can I buy this car? That happens more than you think, and so it's not a bad thing. We don't fight putting people in loaner cars. We kind of enjoy it.
So the product is selling itself.
It does in that respect. It certainly does. So, but the loaner car program, even if you're not, interested or in the market for a newer car, that's one of the perks and advantages of doing business with Lexus, and particularly here at Treasure Coast Lexus. So
it makes you feel like you're being taken care of,
and
that's hard to find out there today. No matter what you're buying,
it is. It's so in a lot of ways it's a lost art, and something that we embrace at Lexus. The Lexus Covenant: treat each customer, like as you would a guest in your own home. And that is, we live by that every day. We talk about that every single day. And it's so refreshing and gratifying when guests, they'll come up to me to find me, and they know I'm in charge, and like, okay, where's the boss, and they'll find me. And, we just want to tell you that we've never had an experience like this before. And we've been buying cars, for a long time, and we've bought a lot of cars in our lives. And this has been the best experience we've ever had. This has been the best experience we've ever had in a service department. And quite frankly, that's our goal. Each time and each interaction, we want it to be the best that they've ever had. So it's nice when people notice.
And I think that comes down from the top. If the company itself wasn't allowing you to do this, then it would be like any other dealership.
It would. And it starts at the top with Lexus, of course. That's their covenant from the day they started the brand back in the late 80s. And then at Treasure Coast Lexus, it starts with our owners, Mr. Woods, His daughter Amber, they run the company, and those are certainly their expectations, and it just trickles down through the rest of the organization. That's our culture. That's not something that we really have to work at, so to speak. We work very hard at it, but it comes naturally to us at this point because that's just who we are. It's in our DNA at this point.
So if I pull into the lot at Treasure Coast Toyota of Stuart, I'm going to get the same customer service.
You do, and that's one of the beauties of having that relationship, because we've been able to take a lot of the things that Lexus preaches, and we've been able to reinforce that and implement that at our Toyota store. Now, our Toyota store does a much larger volume than we do. They're the fastest.
Oh, they got cars. That's like one of the biggest
they are
dealerships.
Just doing a great job. Fastest growing Toyota store in the country.
Amazing.
And right here in little old Stuart, Florida.
Amazing.
Right?
It is.
And just doing a great job. And so, but to do that kind of volume and still have those touch points and still treat customers like a guest in your home, that's the real trick. And that's what they've been able to do, which is, that's a lofty goal. They give us a great rabbit, so to speak, to chase, because we've got the culture and the environment down, and we see the volume that they're doing right here 17 miles down the road from us, and we know what the possibilities are.
But the happy customers are coming back for their next car too, whether it's a Toyota or a Lexus.
It is so much of today, there's still a lot of people who use television and of course we're on the radio and print, to kind of get the word out. But boy, in today's world with social media, Facebook, Twitter, it is just word of mouth has never been more critical, to a business's success or failure, than it is today.
Well, I look at it like this. You advertise to remind somebody that when you need a product, you're
We're
there. So that's basically, I think, how it works, especially radio.
But nothing is more effective, than your neighbor telling you, showing off their new
that
Lexus.
makes or breaks it. I mean, if you've got somebody talking bad, they don't have to have that bad
my
experience.
goodness,
They
no.
only have to hear about it.
If you go online and look at our reviews, which a lot of people do now, before they'll set foot, in a dealership, it's amazing the positive feedback that we get. I had some guests in the other day and told me that they're going to rename their street Lexus Lane, because they said we think we're the last people on the block that don't have a Lexus.
Okay.
And so now we do.
Yeah.
So it's official. And we hear more and more things like that, and that's pretty neat. When you can have people who felt that good about their experience that they want to get out and tell somebody, because people can have a great experience. I think human nature a lot of times is, well, I'm not out there selling, for anybody. I had a great experience. That was wonderful. I keep it to myself.
Right. And if you like your neighbor, you want them to have a great experience too.
Well, I think the experience kind of has to be over the top, for people to really get out there and share it. If I go to a restaurant and it was just phenomenal, I'm talking about it. I love food, so that's probably not a great example for me, but if
it
I have
better be good, right?
But if it's if I've been to plenty of places and had a good meal, and I'm not as vocal about that, but boy, if you wow me and it's just over the top,
right,
and the service was fabulous, you can bet I'm telling anybody that gets within 3 feet of me, and we see that at our dealership. So we're after the wow. We're definitely after the wow factor. And our concierge service is a perfect example of that, where for Treasure Coast Lexus guests, we'll pick you up at your house and take you to the airport for your next trip, pick you up on your return flight, take you back home.
You're my new best friend.
And it's touch points like that we're going for the wow.
And the perk of that is my car gets to sit in the garage.
It sure does. And no long-term parking, no, what level did I park on again?
Right.
What section am I in?
Yeah.
That's always the worst for
Is
me.
my car okay sitting at the parking lot of the airport?
Okay. And, when you're at the end of a trip, be it a business trip or a vacation, and the flight home, and, most people pretty much at that point have had it. They're just ready to get home,
Right.
climb into bed, and
Yeah.
and
Not
here we
climb
go.
in the car and drive back to your
And-
destination. Here you can get picked up.
or wait for the bus to take you back to long-term parking, and we've all experienced that. We're right
or
on
even
the
renting a car.
renting a car,
Yeah.
returning that. We're right on the curb when you pick up your bags, hop in, let's go. We take you right to your front door, and that's one of the wow things that we've gotten more rave reviews about than anything. The emails and letters I get, from that program, and we've only been doing it, I think, 6 weeks now.
Is this unique to your dealership, or is this a Lexus idea?
This is unique to Treasure Coast Lexus.
Okay.
It's not a Lexus program.
Okay.
It's a Treasure Coast Lexus
Are they
program.
looking at it?
No, they're not. I mean,
Yet?
they know about it. They know about it. They've
Okay.
asked about it. But it's one of those things, it takes a commitment,
Sure.
from the dealer. It's because this thing has grown exponentially. It's wildfire. And so, we've got to have drivers. We've got to, we've picked people up at their house at 4 a.m.
Sure.
For
Early
a 7
flight.
o'clock flight.
Yeah.
We've picked people up on the
Well,
return.
the airports aren't in our backyard either.
No, they're not. So I've picked, folks up in Orlando on a return flight at 2 o'clock in the morning, and brought them back, to the Treasure Coast, to Vero Beach, to Jupiter, and so that takes commitment. We've got to have people coordinating that, and we've got to have people scheduling that, and then we've got to have people executing.
Sure.
So not every dealer is interested in that program. They may do something different, something else, but this takes a little bit of work.
Sure.
Sure does. So we're very proud of it. It's working exactly the way we drew it up on paper, actually better than we drew it up. So the reaction and the response in the community has been spectacular. So, and that's what we were going for. So, we could have spent that effort, energy, I guess, in other ways.
So customer going on a cruise wonders how they're going to get to Fort Lauderdale to get on the boat, and
We take them there.
they drive a Lexus, and problem solved.
Problem solved. We pick them up, at their door. We take them to Port Everglades, and we actually know our way around that place really well now. We've done some trips there, so we know which cruise line is where, and we take them right where they need to be.
Just one of the many perks, though, that comes along with purchasing a vehicle at Treasure Coast Lexus. We're about out of time for this week's show. Once again, give us the locations of the dealership.
Well, Treasure Coast Lexus, 5121 South U.S. Highway 1 in Fort Pierce. We're just south of the intersection of U.S. 1 and Midway Road. So real easy to get to there. And then 17 miles south of us, on US 1 also, Treasure Coast Toyota, the giant American flag. Can't miss it.
No, and all them cars.
And all those beautiful cars.
brand new, beautiful Toyotas.
They are nice.
Gary, good to see you. We'll see you next week with the Treasure Coast Car Guys here on WPSL Port St. Lucie, WSTU Stuart.